Welcome, everyone. Not sure I'm live on Rumble yet. Hold on one second. All right, let's wait for that to connect. All right, I think I'm live everywhere. Welcome to Talk with Sally. So tonight we're going to cover the Republican debates. Everyone else in the world has already covered them. I waited a couple days. I covered Trump, and I'm just kind of waiting for the dust to settle. I have not watched anybody's reaction to it because I want to react live. I have taken the video and I have edited it down towards only an hour and 20 minutes instead of 2, which is 40 minutes of wasted airspace, in my opinion. With that said, I think it'll be fun to go ahead and watch it. I just got to pop out some chats real quick and then we'll get started here. That way I can see where everyone is talking. I guess I got to kind of reposition myself so that I can see on both screens. My goodness, it's been a day. I don't know why the Rumble chat is so large, but it's rather large. I hope everyone had an amazing day today. And thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate all you guys. Let's see. Oh, hi, Aowen. Hi, Nookman. Anybody else here join yet? Not yet. And Brimstone, hi. Oh, I guess I didn't check. I didn't test my mic. Is that loud enough for you guys? Hi, Ford. How are you? I pop out one more chat. 1 second. I don't know how streamers can keep all of this together and keep track of all of their chats. Oh my goodness. Hi, Holy Ozone. How are you? Welcome. Let's see. I've got Twitch. I've got Netflix. I don't think I actually need the Twitch. Hold on, just one more, and then we'll get started really quick. So with this video, I have edited it down, and I want collaboration. Like, I'm gonna have my opinions. I wanted to watch it raw, and I wanted to see it with you guys and kind of have a conversation about it. I'm only going to chat about things that are relevant to the video in the moment tonight. I hope you guys can understand that. I get off topic. I do have ADD and it does become difficult to keep up. So with that said, I appreciate everyone. Okay, so I have Elements. I've got YouTube. I've got Rumble. Oh, shoot. Crap. I forgot to share my screen before I went live. Let's see if I can still, it's easier if I do it before I go live. Let's see if I can still do it. Let's see here. Just one. I'm almost there. So my guy got home today. And so he's been in Lake Powell fishing, which I usually go about as many times as he goes, but I haven't been able to go with him. And so it's been kind of like rough because I've just been trying to build this platform and trying to stay really focused on what I'm doing. But he didn't call me or message me last night. Apparently, a group of people last night. They were leaving the houseboat because they had to go home. I wish I would have downloaded some pictures. This might share my screen while I'm telling the story, so I hope not. But they were going home. They stayed extra because they were working on the houseboat. And it's a timeshare houseboat, so we don't own it outright. But they're like, oh, just wait 10 minutes. We have someone with GPS, and so we can make sure you get back to the marina safely. And because of the water levels, they actually moved the whole dock, and you have to drive a lot longer. Anyways, long story short, they decided just to take off. And they're like, no, we got to get home. We got to leave. They ended up wrecking. And my guy didn't tell me this until he got home today because he knew I probably were just worried and freaked out. But there was 5 people, 3 adults, 3 children. They didn't see an island, and they just totally upended their boat into a rock. One of them got life flighted immediately. 2 of them were just taken. Well, it's Lake Powell, so it's like a podunk clinic or whatever. And both of those ended up getting life flighted to St. George after that. Anyway, it was kind of scary. I didn't say he's a traitor. Oh, someone else probably said that. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. There was my story that I wanted to share with you. And because I am ADD, I can only share one thing at a time. No, that's not what I want to share. Hold on. Oh my gosh, I always set this up before I ever do. Is it not going to allow me to share? Oh, sorry. There we go. There we go. I got it. Yay. Oh, I'm going to explain the whole Vivek thing. Just so you guys know, I'm going to explain the whole Vivek Ramaswamy thing. And I hope that you don't care how you feel about it. I'm going to show you information and you can come to your own conclusions. Because I feel like we make, especially women, we make emotional decisions. And with politics, we need to stop being emotional and we need to start looking at facts. So as we're looking at this debate, I'm telling you right now, I have not seen anyone's reactions, and it's taken me a lot of myself to not listen to other people give me their opinions because I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to break it down factually. And also, I didn't. So when I was editing this video today, all I did was take out the commercials and I took out unnecessary talking that wasn't relevant to the actual debate. So it's the person asking the questions and it's debaters answering them. I want the full context. I don't want anything taken out of context so that I can make an educated decision based off of facts. And that's kind of how I want to do it. And there is a Vivek Ramaswamy movie or video coming out that I've been digging up a lot of information for several days. You can come to your own conclusion after that, but we shall see. All right, sorry. I'm really trying hard tonight to not be distracted by chat because I'm highly easily, anyone who watches me and follows me knows that I get distracted very easily with the chat. So I'm going to try to stay focused and on point so we can try to be done by 10:15, 10:20-ish. And then before I start, I just got to check just a couple more windows to make sure I have all my chats up. So I've got YouTube, I've got Twitch. I want Rumble on the same. I want to see Rumble because Rumble doesn't come. That's the only thing I dislike about StreamYard is that I can't see. Let's see, move this over this direction. You can't see Rumble, which I hopefully eventually they're going to integrate that. Okay, so let me see. One more thing. Thanks for your patience. I'm very, very new at this. As you can see, This is I think my third time live streaming to all 3 platforms. So Twitch, Rumble, and YouTube. Let's try to keep the chats appropriate in all those places. I would really appreciate it. I really like just streaming to Rumble because I don't have to think about the words I say. So with YouTube, I'm going to try to hopefully say all the right words that I'm supposed to do. And hopefully that's going to work. Okay. So I've got those that I'm missing one. There we go. There it is. That's what I was looking for. Okay. And I just want to say thank you to Brady Be Grateful, a new follow, and All Frame 69, a new follow. Okay. Are you guys ready to get this movie started? I hope so. It's going to be fun. Sweet. Okay. Got it all set there. All right, here we go. And I want this to be an open discussion, guys. So if you have questions, you have thoughts, you have opinions, please share them. They're important. Like, I'm open. I used to be independent, that used to lean more toward left of center. And I'm no longer that way. With education and knowledge, I have changed my mind. And I can change my mind again. It has to be fact-based and not emotional based, if that makes sense to anyone in here. All right. If you're in here before you guys leave, or before this ends, make sure you hit the like button, whether it be on Rumble, whether it be on YouTube. If you're on Twitch, make sure you follow. And let's have a good time with this tonight. Okay, let's get started. And like I've said, I edited this video, but I did not listen to any of it. So this is going to be brand new. I intentionally did not listen to anyone's reactions. I want to let's just share this experience and let's see how it goes. You used to be anarchist, now you're not. Oh my gosh. All right. Sorry it didn't watch chat. Hi, Snappy. How are you? All right. Let's see. I've been like totally organizing my studio up here, and it's been a long process. So thanks for bearing with me, and thanks for being patient. All right. So let's go ahead and add. Hopefully I haven't screwed up something. I don't want to remove that. I want to add it. Oh, I just got to change. I just got to do different. Okay, hold on. Bear with me because usually StreamYard has a process. If you're going to share windows, you've got to do them before you go live, and I forgot to do it. So hopefully everything's going to run smoothly without me screwing everything up. Okay, perfect so far. All right, I need my earbuds. And I want your guys' honest opinions and your feedback. If someone has a different opinion than you in chat, try to be open-minded and not attack, but try to clarify, seek understanding, yada, yada, yada. All right. If the volume needs to be louder, please let me know. I'm pushing play, Julian. Love you. Hearts. There's no volume? There's no volume on the video? I can hear it. Why can't you hear it? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna go crazy. Well, I'll vote Trump 100% if he's the candidate. Okay, I'm just trying to figure out why we don't have volume. Just give me a second. I'm not sure. Okay, I've never had this problem before, so I very much apologize. Okay, I'm gonna push play again. And please let me know if you can hear it. Okay, I'm pushing play right now. Can you guys hear right now? Can you guys hear? Still no volume? Okay. Hold on just 1 second. Okay, I'm pushing pause. Guys, I am so sorry. I always use the internet to stream, and I edited this video today so it wouldn't be so long and I would get past all the crap. So hold on. Let me message to see if someone can help. I know someone that could help me. So on Twitch, it's working for you? Why is it being weird? I can hear the volume here through my headphones, so I'm very confused. Okay, please bear with me. And if this ends up being a flop, I guess we'll do another day. I'll look at chat 1 second. Okay, that's sent. Okay, let's go and see. You're going back? You're leaving? No. Okay, so usually when I use StreamYard, everything on StreamYard works just fine. I've never had an issue. Like everything I've ever done that's been live has always been through StreamYard. So I'm very, very, very confused. And so I'm hoping that just unshare the window and reshape it. Make sure audio is selected. Okay. So I'm going to unshare. I don't know what reshape it means. Maybe I have to make, maybe I might have to make the video smaller. I uploaded 1080p and maybe it's too much for a live stream. So let's try that. Let's try, this is not my ideal, guys, streaming. So, okay, now I reshared it. Make sure audio is selected. I don't know how to make sure audio is selected. Okay, guys, let's go to audio real quick. You guys are the most patient people. Okay, if you guys leave, I will understand. I'm still going to do this on my own. So, okay, I'm going to push play and let's see if it's because I made it too high resolution. Let me know if you guys can hear yet, please. And now I'm buffering. There's still no sound? I don't understand this. Why am I hearing it and you guys can't? Okay, I'm going to totally stop sharing and I'm going to reshare it. And if that doesn't fix it, then I guess we're done for the night. Let's try one more time. Okay, I'm going to push play on the video again, guys. Hopefully. Yes, I'm in present mode. For sure I am. Okay, I'm rewinding. I'm pushing play. Yes. I'm using window screening, not video sharing. Is there a difference? Can you guys hear sound yet? Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. Whoever said video share. Okay. A YouTube or something like that. So let's try this one more time. Okay. So I'm going to remove this. Okay. You're right. Thank you. Oh, you might have just saved me. Okay.
Some ground rules for tonight. We'll ask the questions, and then candidates get 1 minute to answer.
Thank you.
If
Thank
someone
you.
is singled out, you get 30 seconds
Can you
to
hear
respond.
now?
And when the time runs out,
I didn't know that.
will hear this.
Thank you so much.
It's very pleasant.
So tonight, these candidates have a big opportunity to break out of the pack and to explain why they are best prepared to be the Republican choice for president at a time when the likely Democrat nominee, President Joe Biden, is working to convince the country that with Bidenomics, Things are looking
Sorry,
up.
I'm saying thanks to the other person that helped.
They call my plan Bidenomics. I'm not sure they meant it in a totally complimentary way at the time.
You turn the volume
But
up.
guess
Let me
what?
see if I can.
It's working.
Let's see. If not, I'll turn myself down.
More than 65% of Americans say the country is headed in the wrong direction. And here's the reality for some voters we talked to here in
I
Wisconsin
have
this week.
the volume 100%. I can turn
We
myself
have
down
noticed a
if I'm too
dramatic
loud.
increase in prices at the grocery store just across the board.
Gas is high and food is high. A lot of people's out here homeless because they can't buy food.
It's tough when you got mortgage rates at 7-8% versus 2 to 3. It's just you can't afford a house anymore.
Inflation is ridiculous. It's killing us out here.
As we sit here tonight, the #1 song on the Billboard chart is called Rich Men North of Richmond. It is by a singer from Farmville, Virginia, named Oliver Anthony. His lyrics speak of alienation, of deep frustration with the state of government and of this country. Washington, D.C. is about 100 miles north of Richmond.
These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have.
So, Governor DeSantis, why is this song striking such a nerve in this country right now? What do you think it means?
Our country is in decline. This decline is not inevitable, it's a choice. We need to send Joe Biden back to his basement and reverse American decline. And it starts with understanding we must reverse Bidenomics so that middle-class families have a chance to succeed again. We cannot succeed as a country if you are working hard and you can't afford groceries, a car, or a new home while Hunter Biden can make hundreds of thousands of dollars on lousy paintings. That is wrong.
Okay, I've never been able to pause a movie. Are you being serious that he dunked on them for using them at the GOP? It wouldn't surprise me because they're part of the problem just as much as the Democrats. Both parties, in my opinion, need to fix things. They need to do better. They really, really need to do better. Anyway.
We also cannot succeed. Congress, those
now
in this situation. And finally, we need to lower your gas prices.
That was my internet. Sorry.
All energy production. We will be energy dominant again in this country. I showed it could be done in the state of Florida. I pledge to you as your president, we will get the job done, and I will not let you down.
All right, Governor DeSantis, thank you. Governor Christie, do you agree with Governor DeSantis just said there? And why would you be better on the economy than him?
Well, look, I do agree predominantly with what Governor DeSantis just laid out. I think that if you asked every one of us up here, that we would agree predominantly with what he just laid out. Here's the difference. The difference is that we're going to have to work and make sure that we sell these ideas. And be able to put ourselves in a position where we get a majority of the vote, not only by winning the Congress and the Senate in 24, but also by having someone who's had the experience of doing it. Now, I was elected as a conservative Republican in a blue state with 61% of the vote, with a Democratic legislature against me the entire time. And we still, through hard, strong decision-making, brought them around to our point of view. We cut taxes in New Jersey. We cut debt in New Jersey. We made sure that each and every time we were confronted with bad Democratic ideas, we stood and stopped them. And when there were good ideas, we brought people together to make progress going forward. Truth and accountability are the things we need to do to fight waste. And I'd say the last thing is this, Brett. We cannot.
I have no idea why he's up there or Asa. To be completely honest with you, I don't think they're adding any value. They are either trying to make a name for themselves, they're either trying to gain some kind of a cabinet position, or they're just bored in their life, in my opinion.
Not sit by any longer. and allow the kind of spending that's going on in Washington, because every dollar they spend
Sam,
is a
how are
dollar
you?
that these people are not allowed to spend on their children and their grandchildren. It's robbing our country, and it's wrong.
Well, Governor, let me just follow up very quickly.
Oh my gosh,
New
Lloyd.
Jersey, when you were governor, had the second lowest credit rating in the nation after Illinois, and it was downgraded 11 times.
Yep. Yeah, and that's what happens when you inherit a blue state that has done that. But when you look at what we did on debt, Brett, in that state, we cut debt in that state, debt that had been left to us by 3 Democratic gubernatorial predecessors of mine who ran up that debt tremendously.
Okay, I kind of feel like the voices aren't matching up to their mouths. And if that's the case, I'm not going to try to reset everything to fix it today. We will just have to try to deal with it, and I will do better in the future with editing my videos. Maybe it's something I did.
And what you also saw us do was to cut the unemployment rate in half. It was over 10% when I became governor in 2010. What we also did was cut pension payments to public employees to make sure that taxpayers were not being soaked by a public employee union system that was killing the taxpayer.
Thank you, Governor.
Tim Scott, Senator Scott, excuse me. The song also goes after welfare programs. As a senator, President Biden
I don't know why it's buffering like
argued for
this.
federal, this was back in the 80s, and dealing with sacred cows. He does not talk about that anymore. You have been a senator, though, for 10 years. So what have you done to rein in the increasing size of government?
I think it was a little high.
Over the last several
think I
years,
was really
I've had an
broke.
opportunity to vote against spending package after spending package after spending package. What we also need to understand is that Joe Biden's Bidenomics has led to the loss of $10,000 of spending power for the average family. When you see 16% inflation, your gas is up 40%, your food is up 20%, your electricity is up 20%. We can stop that by turning the spigot off at Washington, sending the money back to the states, and allowing the decisions to be made at their own houses.
Please do, Brimstone. I was going to do fact checking earlier and add it to the video. I just ran out of time.
For a single mom like the one that raised me by 70%, for dual households by 60%, returning to the average family $4,000. If you don't send it to Washington, we can't spend it. That's good news for the American people.
Okay, but just to follow up, you did, during the Trump administration, you approved 4.
I agree with him 100%. Why is it not? Oh,
there's no doubt that.
Crap, I meant to mute. I meant to pause, not mute. Please bear with me. This is a different way of sharing for me, and I appreciate your patience. I agree with him 100%. We have too many people in office. We are paying too many people to do nothing while they're in office. That's something, Democrat or Republican, I don't care who you are. It needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed because coming from a middle class poor person that was getting by just fine, it needs to be fixed.
The Trump administration, when we were dealing with the COVID virus, we spent more money. But here's what happened at the end of our time in the majority. We had low unemployment, record low unemployments, 3.5% for the majority of the population, 70-year low for women. African Americans, Hispanics, and Asians had an all-time low, but our inflation was at 2%. Under Joe Biden, we've seen the exact opposite. We've seen inflation explode, which led to 12 Federal Reserve increases. That's devastating.
I agree, Doc Brusky.
Mr. Ramaswamy,
Michelle,
you're listening to these
if I may,
hold on
that
one
was
second.
our
We're going
administration,
to,
so I don't know if I get a chance to respond.
He didn't mention you specifically, but we'll be with you in a second, Mr. Vice President. Mr. Ramaswamy, listening to all of this, why should voters choose you over more experienced politicians on this stage? You're basically, a blank slate for people. You're 38 years old. You've said that you only voted in 2 presidential elections before this moment, this political race.
So first, let me just address a question that is on everybody's mind at home tonight. Who the heck is this skinny guy with a funny last name, and what the heck is he doing in the middle of this debate stage? I'll tell you, I'm a politician, Brett. You're right about that. I'm an entrepreneur. My parents came to this country with no.
Okay, I have to laugh for just a second. Because even him coming out on stage, he looks and sounds fake. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe he just is so practiced and so polished because he's taking this so seriously. But that was kind of hysterical to where I wanted to laugh really loud. Just saying.
No money 40 years ago. I have gone on to found multi-billion-dollar companies. I did it while marrying my wife, Apurva, raising our 2 sons, following our faith in God. That is the American dream. And I am genuinely worried that that American dream will not exist for our 2 sons and their generation unless we do something about it. And I do think Brett is going to take an outsider, because for a long time we have professional politicians in the Republican Party who have been running from something. Now is our moment to start running to something, to our vision of what it means to be an American today. If you have a broken car, you don't turn over the keys to the people who broke it again. You hand it over to a new generation to actually fix the problem. That's why I'm in this race, and we're just getting warmed up.
All right, to you, Governor Haley. So why are you better positioned to turn around this economy that we've heard all of these voters talking about tonight than Mr. Ramaswamy, who is a successful entrepreneur? Now, he's beating you in polls.
Well, I don't poll.
Okay, I'm going to try to make this video slightly smaller right now and see if that helps with the playback. And maybe that's why it's so jittery. The whole reason why I edited this today was so it wouldn't be jittery, so it wouldn't be jumping around. So let's try that and see if that helps. We just pretty much need the background noise anyway.
What I care about the fact is that no one is telling the American people the truth. The truth is, Biden didn't do this to us. Our Republicans did this to us too. When they passed that $2.2 trillion COVID bill, they left
and I'm
us
hitting
with
refresh.
90 million.
I'm hitting pause. I'm going to hit refresh, and hopefully that's going to fix our problem.
Some ground rules for tonight.
I trust the American people.
Would you like to respond? Are you
So,
bought and
Brett,
paid
what
for?
I would like to say is the fact that I think this is exactly why Margaret Thatcher.
I just want to respond to Mike for 1 second because he invoked me back. Listen, now that everybody's gotten their memorized, pre-prepared slogans out of the way, we can actually have a real discussion now.
Vivek, you recently. How to get back to this guy. Okay, there was him. Let's go to Vivek. And then, okay, I don't like doing it this way. I'm not going to waste my time editing videos in the future.
Late for
It's
people
been
who are
hours on it
38
today.
years old. You've said that you only voted in 2 presidential elections before this moment, this political race.
So first, let me just address a question that is on everybody's mind at home tonight.
Right?
Who the heck is this
I enjoyed
skinny guy
covering that
with a
event
funny last
way
name,
more.
and what the heck is he doing in the middle of this debate stage? I'll tell you, I'm not a politician, Brett. You're right about that. I'm an
Really?
entrepreneur.
You're
My
not?
parents came to this country with no money 40 years ago. I have gone on to found multi-billion-dollar companies. I did it while marrying my wife, Apurva, raising our 2 sons, following our faith in God. That is the American dream. And I am genuinely worried that that American dream will not exist for our two sons and their generation unless we do something about it. And I do think Brett is going to take an outsider, because for a long time we have professional politicians in the Republican Party who have been running from something. Now is our moment to start running to something, to our vision of what it means to be an American today. If you have a broken car, you don't turn over the keys to the people who broke it again. You hand it over to a new generation to actually fix the problem. That's why I'm in this race, and we're just getting warmed up.
All right, to you, Governor Haley. So why are you better positioned to turn around this economy?
All right, guys. I've heard lots of, not rumors, I've seen lots of different things documented on the internet, from Vivek having his WEF links scrubbed from the internet. I'm still doing a deep dive into it. It looks pretty factual, but as I'm watching him, I'm looking at these things. He received a scholarship in 2011 or 12, and he said he accepted it because he was poor. However, was it 2011, 2012? He'd already made $1 million that year. And there's a big, huge thank you. Anyway, I'm gathering all the data and I'm going to present a video with it. But as you're watching him, look and see how polished he truly is. And is it an act? Is it because he's trying to sell some kind of an agenda? There was a very famous guy in Germany that caused World War II who wrote a book, and he tried to say, oh no, that was just when I was young. I didn't really mean it. I was really angry at the time. So kind of correlate these two people. I'm not saying he is that way. I was saying there needs to be further deep diving to find out the actual truth. Maybe he's really just amazing and he's really means what he says.
Economy that we've heard all of these voters talking about tonight. Then Mr. Ramaswamy, who is a successful entrepreneur nationally right now, he's beating you in the polls.
Well, I don't care about polls. What I care about the fact is that no one is telling the American people the truth. The truth is that Biden didn't do this to us. Our Republicans did this to us too. When they passed that $2.2 trillion COVID stimulus bill, they left us with 90 million people on Medicaid, 42 million people on food stamps. No one has told you how to fix it. I'll tell you how to fix it. They need to stop the spending. They need to stop the borrowing. They need to eliminate the earmarks that the Republicans brought back in. And they need to make sure they understand these are taxpayer dollars. It's not their dollars. And while they're all saying this, you have Ron DeSantis, you've got Tim Scott, you've got Mike Pence. They all voted to raise the debt, and Donald Trump added $8 trillion to our debt. And our kids are never going to forgive us for this. And so at the end of the day, you look at the 2024 budget, Republicans asked for $7.4 billion in earmarks. Democrats asked for $2.8 billion. So you tell me who are the big spenders. I think it's time for an accountant in the White House.
Vice President Pence, you were mentioned there. 54% of voters say the cost of groceries is a, quote, major problem for them.
Right.
You blamed the Biden administration spending for that increase. But as vice president, your administration spent more than any prior, $7.8 trillion added to the national debt, $3.5 trillion of that before COVID. So does that mean that you're part of the spending problem?
Well, first off, thanks for the question. Thanks for letting me respond to a reference to our administration's record. I'm incredibly proud of the record of the Trump-Pence administration. I mean, in 4 short years, we rebuilt our military. We revived our economy. We unleashed American energy. And we appointed 3 conservatives to the Supreme Court that gave the American people a new beginning for the right to life. Now, Martha, you asked earlier who's the most best prepared for this job. And I must tell you, with all due respect to all of my friends,
I cannot stand Mike Pence. Not even a little bit. I think he's horrible. I don't know why he's running. Like, I don't know why he thinks that he has a chance at this, but okay. Godspeed, I guess.
on the stage, and even to one that's probably looking on. I think unquestionably I am the best prepared the most tested, the most qualified and proven conservative in this race. I was a leader in the Congress of the United States. I led Indiana where we balanced budgets and had a AAA bond rating when I was governor. And as Vice President of the United States, we spent funding to backfill on the military cuts of the Obama administration, and then we were there in the worst pandemic in 100 years. All that being said, I was the first person in this race to say that we've got to deal with the long-term national debt issues. You got people on this stage that won't even talk about issues like Social Security and Medicare. I mean, Vivek, you recently said a president can't.
Does anybody know what Mike Pence did to Indiana before he was vice president? Does anybody have a clue? I will have to dig out the Carfax on that, but terrible.
Do everything. Well, I got news for you, Vivek. I've been in the hallway. I've been in the West Wing. A president of the United States has to confront every crisis facing America. I will put our nation back on the path to growth and prosperity and restore fiscal responsibility, just as I did in Congress and as governor,
Mr. Vice President,
and when I was vice president.
But
what he's forgetting to tell people is that he's pro-funding the war in Ukraine. How is that bringing prosperity to the United States? He supports that war. He's very false.
Yeah, you
were named earlier. I'm going to give Vivek first.
We'll get to both of
Yeah, this isn't that complicated, guys. Unlock American energy, drill, frack, burn coal, embrace nuclear. Put people back to work by no longer paying them more to stay at home. Reform the U.S. Fed, stabilize the U.S. dollar, and go to war. The only war that I will declare as U.S. president will be the war on the federal administrative state that is the source of those toxic regulations acting like a wet blanket on the economy. So I'm not sure I exactly understood Mike Pence's comment, but
will he do what he says he will do?
For me, it's pretty simple. That's something a U.S. president can do with focus, and I'll deliver on it.
Well, let me explain it to you. If I can. I'll go slower this time.
I sometimes struggle with the reading comprehension.
Look, I was a House conservative leader before it was cool. I actually pushed a Deficit Reduction Act. That was the last time we actually reduced the national debt in the United States when I was the leader of House conservatives. I balanced budgets and cut taxes when I was governor. I mean, look, Joe Biden has weakened this country at home and abroad. Now is not the time for on-the-job training. We don't need to bring in a rookie. We don't need to bring in people without.
That's the first truth that Pence has said in, like, I do not know how long. That's the first time that he's been honest about anything. Is Biden has destroyed this country, and China taking all that money from them. Horrible.
It's 30 seconds when you have a rebuttal, okay? And you are up, Governor DeSantis.
So here's the thing. Why are we in this mess? Part of it, and a major reason, is because how this federal government handled COVID-19 by locking down this economy. It was a mistake. It should have never happened. And in Florida, we led the country out of lockdown. We kept our state free and open. And I can tell you this, as your president, I will never let the deep state bureaucrats lock you down. You don't take somebody like Fauci and coddle him. You bring Fauci in, you sit him down, and you say, Anthony, you are fired.
You know what? We're going to bring in.
I just want to finish.
Yes, some people were smart.
Because he invoked me back. Listen, now that everybody's gotten their memorized, pre-prepared slogans out of the way, we can actually have a real discussion now. The reality and the fact of the matter is...
Was that one of yours?
I want him to slow down speaking.
Mike, actually. We're just going to have some fun tonight. And the reality is, you have a bunch of people, professional politicians, super PAC puppets, following slogans handed over to them by their 400-page super PACs last week. The real choice we face in this primary is this.
He's good, but I still think he's part of the deep state, Gabby.
Or do you want a patriot who speaks the truth? Do you want incremental reform, which is what you're hearing about, or do you want revolution?
Okay.
And I stand on the side of
Yeah, they were
American
impeaching him the
revolution.
whole time he was in president, from start to finish.
We need everyone to
How
have
can you do
a moment on
anything?
the economy.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Can I address the
There are
COVID
two
issue
people
that
who
the
have
governor
not.
brought up?
We're going to get back to that. We are.
Yes,
There are
he
two people
did.
Who we have not heard from yet. So we'll hear from
But
Governor
not for very
Northam
long.
and then from
I
Governor
followed
Hutchinson
him
on
and
the
I
economy.
thought,
Well, great. Thank you, Martha. And of course, I'm from a town of
DeSantis did lock the government down. So I was obsessive about COVID, not because I thought we'd be locked down, but I knew it was a man-made virus from early on. And when DeSantis was doing everything that he was doing, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this guy is doing this. I can't believe that everything he did shocked me and scared me. And I was like, oh, he's going to spread it to my state, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, okay, that was ridiculous. So he locked it down, but he opened it up way sooner than anyone else did. So he does get credit for that.
300 people. It's a big deal to make it on this stage with all these folks. But when they were all wishing me well, and I think I took them a little too literally when they said, go to Milwaukee and break a leg. So, but I do want to say on this, we're missing something. We can't just talk about the Biden economy because the economy, energy, and national security are all tied together. Of course, we're paying too much for our energy in our state, in our country right now. But part of the reason why is because of the Biden policies on energy. We've got a plan right now, the $1.2 trillion of Green New Deal spending buried in the Inflation Creation Act is something that is just subsidizing China. If we're going to stop buying oil from the Middle East and start buying batteries from China, we're just trading OPEC for Sinopec. And then belatedly, the Biden administration says, no, we're going to put sanctions on Russian oil. Well,
this is really sad. But if they had not put his name at the bottom of the ticker tape, I would have no clue who this guy is. Like, zero clue. I have never heard of him until this debate. Maybe I've heard his name, but I don't even have a clue who he is.
Well, we put sanctions on Russian oil, well, then it's 20% off. Who's buying it? China. So if you buy a battery in this country, you buy a solar panel, it's being produced in a plant in China powered by coal, or it's being powered by oil and gas at 20% off. And every farmer in this country would like to buy diesel at 20% off, just like they're buying it in China.
Governor Hutchinson, quickly.
Thank you, Grant. Delighted to be here tonight. And let me just tell you that I'm a pro-life governor from a conservative state that have a conservative record in which I lowered taxes in Arkansas as governor. I created a $2 billion surplus that I passed over to my successor, and I made sure that we shrunk the size of government. We have 14% fewer state employees in Arkansas after I left government than when I took over as governor 8 years ago.
I say none of them.
I tell that because that's what we need in Washington, D.C. We need somebody who can actually constrain the growth of the federal government, that can actually reduce the size, and I've pledged to reduce by 10% our federal non-defense workforce. That's a specific pledge to make that attacks the administrative state. And let me applaud some of the business partners.
I wish you guys could see when I was editing this video down today. That guy looked like a bug fly as he was talking, like on 10 times, 20 times speed. It was hilarious. I'm going to have to do a remake of that because it was quite funny.
Are here that have had success in business. But let me tell you, I've been a federal prosecutor. I've served our country in terms of being head of the DEA, in Homeland Security, in times of crisis. And while I think that that's experience that is important for the future of our country, to be the President of the United States that can lead with positive solutions and be held accountable.
Thank you. We have a lot of topics to get to, and I promise we're going to get to everyone if we play within the rules. Okay, next topic.
There was very few people that were not.
Still unaccounted
Our
for.
state never was.
After the deadliest U.S. wildfire in more than a century, Hawaii's governor and White House officials said that climate change amplified the cost of human error.
Here we go.
Tropical storm
Climate
hit
change.
California for the first time
Really?
in 84 years. The ocean hit 101 degrees off the coast of Florida. And in the last month, the heat wave in the Southwest broke records nearly 50 years old.
So Alexander Diaz from Young America's Foundation has a question for you all.
Polls consistent.
Okay, right now, climate has always changed. If you go back 100 years, our temperature has only raised 1 degree in that amount of time. 1 degree in that amount of time. Yes, climate's always going to change. There's winter, summer, spring, fall. It's always going to change. And yes, does humans have an impact? Yes. This is ridiculous. I don't give a crap about climate change. I don't give a crap about what they're doing with energy so that people can get rich because of in the name of climate change. It's bullcrap.
Show that young people's #1 issue is climate change. How will you, as both President of the United States and leader of the Republican Party, calm their fears that the Republican Party doesn't care about climate change?
So we want to start on this with a show of hands. Do you believe
terrible
human behavior is causing climate change? Raise your hand if you do.
Look, we're not school children. Let's have the
This
debate.
is stupid.
I mean, I'm happy to take it to start. Alexander?
Who raises their hand in a debate? This is
I don't
stupid.
think that's the way to do. So let me just say to Alexander this. First of all, one of the
They
reasons
are
our country's declined is
indoctrinated
because of the
by
way
the
the
government
corporate media
at a very young
treats
age,
Republicans versus
100%.
Democrats. Biden was on the beach while those people were suffering. He was asked about it. He said, no comment. Are you kidding me? As somebody that's handled disasters in Florida, you got to be activated.
They were,
You've got to
Gabby.
be there. You've got to be
I agree with you
present. You've got to be helping
100%.
people who are doing this. And here's the deal.
Let's just answer the question.
So is that a yes or is that a yes? Is that a hand raise?
Yes.
I think it was a hand raise for him, and it's my hands are in my pockets.
No,
because
no,
the
I
climate
didn't
change
raise- I
agenda
didn't
is a
raise a
hoax. Let us be honest as Republicans. I'm the only person on the stage who isn't bought and paid for, so I can say this. The climate change agenda is a hoax. The climate change agenda is a hoax.
Oh my gosh.
And the reality is, the anti-carbon agenda is the wet blanket on our economy.
Yes, it
and
is
so
hard
the
to
reality
teach
is,
kids
more
that.
people are dying of bad climate change policies than they are of actual climate change.
Governor Haley, are you bought and paid for?
Down by
Hold on.
in the last century.
Listen. Wait, hold on.
I've had enough. I've had enough already tonight of a guy who sounds like.
Okay, this is going to be really hilarious. And just so you guys know, do not tell this guy he is fat. Do not ever do that, please.
ChatGPT standing up here. And
yes.
The last person in one of these debates, Brett, who stood in the middle of the stage and said, what's a skinny guy with an odd last name doing up here was Barack Obama, and I'm afraid we're dealing with the same type of amateur standing on stage tonight.
Give me a hug just like you did to Obama.
The same type of amateur.
And you'll help me just like you did to Obama.
This guy.
The same type of amateur.
Give me a hug. Just like you did Obama.
Would you
Please
like to
do.
respond? Are you
So,
bought and
Brett,
paid
what
for?
I would like to say is the fact that I think this is exactly why Margaret Thatcher said, if you ask a man if you want something done, ask me.
Hopefully I don't have to refresh again. Sorry. I will never convert a video to 1080p ever again.
Clean air,
I apologize.
clean water.
I will do
we
better.
We want to see that taken care of, but there's a right way to do it. And the right way to do it is, first of all, yes, is climate change real? Yes, it is. But if you want to go and really change the environment, then we need to start telling China and India that they have to lower their emissions. That's where our problem is. And these green subsidies that Biden has put in, all he's done is help China, because he doesn't understand all these electric vehicles that he's done.
I almost want to skip the whole entire climate debate thing. It's stupid. Since we've had more CO2 in the atmosphere, we have more food, more green things. It's scientifically proven. We do not want to go through an ice age. We want this temperature. It has allowed us to feed the world. This is silly.
What that does, half of the batteries for electric vehicles are made in China. And so that's not helping the environment. You're putting money in China's pocket, and Biden did that. So first of all, I think we need to acknowledge the truth, which is these subsidies are not working. We also need to take on the international world and say, okay, India and China, you've got to stop polluting, and that's when we'll start to deal with
Senator Scott, are you bought and paid for?
Absolutely.
Are you bought and paid for?
Absolutely.
Are you bought and paid
Absolutely not. I mean, here's what the American people deserve is a debate about the issues that affect their lives. Going back and forth, being childish is not helpful to the American people to decide on the next leader of our country. Number one, wait a second. Number two, as a kid who grew up in a single-parent household mired in poverty, I wondered, was the American dream real for kids who were devastated by poverty, devastated by the challenges of life? I came to the conclusion that America can do for anyone what she's done for me if we focus on restoring hope, creating opportunities, and protecting America. If we want the environment to be better, and we all do, the best thing to do is to bring our jobs home from China. If we
you have to listen to the scientists,
jobs that might made in America,
the real
we will
ones,
have a better economy
not the paid ones,
and a better environment. Let me tell you why I say that, Brett. America,
do it quickly.
America has cut. I'm a Southern boy. I talk slow. So America. That was quick. America has cut our carbon footprint in half in the last 25 years. The places where they are continuing to increase,
oh my gosh.
Africa, 950 million people. India, over 1 billion. China, over 1 billion. Why would we put ourselves at a disadvantage? Devastating our own economy. Let's bring our jobs home.
But we are going to take a brief moment and talk about the elephant not in the room.
Okay, since we're in a transition between topics, people don't understand it. When last year, while I was watering my garden, I had different people on different platforms being like, oh, you need to plant less things. I don't have a big yard. If you think about it, you have green things, you water them. The water vapor goes into the atmosphere, and that creates moisture. So if all you have is rock and sand and concrete and dirt, you don't get water vapor, the evaporation, the life cycle, it doesn't continue. It's very, I guess it's this direction, it's opposite. It's very false. It doesn't make sense. If you water, you have more humidity, which creates more water that's going to come back down to the earth somewhere. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just don't know my science. But that's what I learned in school.
Former President Trump has been indicted in 4 different states on 91 counts. He will be processed tomorrow in Georgia at the Fulton County Jail for charges relating to the 2020 election loss.
You all signed a pledge
I almost don't
to
their pause
support the
anymore.
eventual Republican nominee. If former President Trump is convicted in a court of law, would you still support him as your party's choice?
Yes, Gabby.
Please raise your hand if you would.
Lock him up. Lock him up. Lock him up.
Kind of late to the game there, but you raised your hand.
No, I'm doing this. Look, I'm doing this.
And
Not
I know
this.
you didn't.
No.
What's
And no, look, here's the bottom line. Someone's got to stop normalizing this conduct. Okay? Now, whether or not you believe that the criminal charges are right or wrong, the conduct is beneath the office of President of the United States.
Oh my gosh. Will this guy just please leave
This is
the
the great
stage?
thing about this country. Booing
Why
is
is he
allowed,
running?
but it doesn't change the truth. It doesn't change the truth.
Mr. Ramaswamy, you raised your hand supporting.
I'd like to get in and respond. Let's just speak the truth, okay? President Trump, I believe, was the best president of the 21st century. It's a fact. And Chris Christie, honest to God, your claim that
They
Donald
should
Trump
have.
is motivated by vengeance and grievance would be a lot more credible if your entire campaign were not based on vengeance and grievance against one man, and if people at home want to see a bunch of people blindly bashing Donald Trump without an iota of vision for this country, they could just change the channel to MSNBC right now. But I'm not running for president of MSNBC. I am running for president of the United States.
Oh
We're
my
skating on
gosh,
thin ice,
Princeton.
and we cannot set a precedent where the party in power uses police force to indict its political opponents. It's wrong. In this country.
I'm going to apologize again. It will never download a video in 1080p. I don't think it would break up if I had not done this. So I'm sorry, guys.
30 seconds, Governor DeSantis.
Look, you know, let me tell you something.
I'm sorry. 30 seconds, Governor
You
Christie.
make me laugh because you sit here in an answer. You sit here in an answer right.
Boo!
You sit
Boo!
here in an answer.
Go ahead.
McDonald's is waiting for you. You missed your pickup time.
So listen, the more time we spend doing this, the less time they can talk about issues you want to talk about. So let's just get through this section.
Oh,
Governor Christie.
there will be no election if that happens.
You sit
Kevin.
here talking about how you want to stand up
If
for
Trump
the
is
rule of law
not
and
on
law
the
and order.
ballot, and
the
I
fact
hated
is
Trump.
That it can't be selective. In your book,
I
you have
hated
much
Trump
different
in
things to say
2020.
about Donald Trump than
I
you're
won't
saying
lie.
here tonight.
I changed my
But
mind.
it is very true.
I hated him.
It's very true. I read it,
Because
and I
there's a
know.
difference
Look,
between
I
bad
know.
behavior and illegal
By the way,
behavior, Chris, and you as a
by the way,
prosecutor should know better.
You know what?
Oh,
I
yeah,
know a
yeah,
lot
yeah,
better.
yeah.
Difference between
I
bad
know.
behavior.
I want a
I know
burrito.
a lot better than
Some
you
tacos.
do. You've never done it like you've never done anything to try to advance the interests of this
Yeah.
government except to put yourself forward as a candidate tonight. And here's the thing. We've stood up for law and order. I did it as U.S. attorney. I did it as governor.
Yeah,
and I am
really?
not gonna
You
bow
did?
to
Please,
anyone when
show
we
me
have
your
a president
record.
of the United States who
Show me your record.
disrespects the Constitution. He said,
Show me your record.
He said,
Yeah, I'm only watching
Martha,
because I want to be
it's important
educated.
to say that the president
You
said,
can see lies.
Donald Trump said, it's okay
Ah,
to
hi,
suspend
Danielle.
the Constitution. Now, the oath you take is to preserve, protect, and defend, not suspend. I will always stand up for our Constitution,
Phonetically.
regardless of the political pressure.
We have another question for you. We're going to get everyone in on this issue, but I have another question.
Yeah.
I have another question. Hold on, you will.
I apologize, Trump.
All right. So
I'm sorry.
President Trump's former vice president is on this stage tonight. He has faced hecklers on the campaign trail
And a fly
over
on his head.
actions on January
Don't
the
forget the
6th.
fly.
On that day, the vice president moved
forget.
forward with the certification of the election. So do you believe that Mike Pence did the right thing, Senator Scott? Do you believe he did the right thing?
Absolutely.
Nope.
He did the right thing. Number one. Number two.
Nope, we're not
we should be-
representing Brimstone.
We should be asking ourselves a bigger question about the weaponization of the Department of Justice. When I'm
I already
president,
know
the
how
first
big
thing
it
I'll
is,
do
Julian.
is fire Merrick
It's too
Garland.
big. I will
Second
change
thing
it
I'll
going
do,
forward. I already told you.
Fire Christopher Wray.
I will
because
do better,
we need
Julian.
Lady Justice to
It
wear
was
a
my bad.
blindfold. Without that, no one has confidence in our justice system. 17% of Republicans have confidence
too good.
in our Department
It's too
of
good.
Justice.
I already
Here's
told you.
why.
I already
we
know.
keep seeing not only the weaponization of the Department of
Oh my
Justice
gosh,
against
Brimstone.
political opponents,
You're
but
killing me.
also against parents who show up at school board meetings. They're called, under this DOJ, they're called domestic terrorists.
Firing Christopher
but that's not-
Wray
but that's
shut
not-
down the FBI. Actually have the courage to get it right.
Mr. Ramaswamy.
No, it's too big. I will do better.
Not
Well, I'm
only
saying.
that, in addition to that, we see
No, they're not. I don't
the
think that.
SWAT team
Not,
show
not
up
at all. I love you.
pro-life activist
I love
homes
you.
with guns drawn because this DOJ uses their power, uses their authority, not just against political opponents, but against conservatives and conservative causes. It is time for a change in America.
Okay. Right this second, as far as I see it, Trump is my number one vote. I want to have the life I had when he was president. I felt like for the first time I could afford things. And I've worked hard to be able to be a mom to my kids. And when President Trump was my president, I was actually finally saving money. And then when I vote for Biden, right? My life is over. Within 3 months, Ukraine, whatever, I'm out $400 a month in just groceries. That's not gas. That's not anything else. Just groceries. This guy, I'm kind of liking this guy. I'm kind of liking what he says. Vivek just seems too AI polished. That's just my opinion.
America, and I will bring that change to the greatest nation on God's green earth.
We don't talk about
DeSantis, do you believe that Mike Pence did the right thing on January 6th?
So here's what we need to do. We need to end the weaponization of these federal agents.
But
and I will do that.
That's not the question.
Here, I know, but here's the thing. This election is not about January 6th of 2021. It's about January 20th of 2025, when the next president is going to take office. I know what the Democrats would like to do.
Inclined, I don't mean that in a negative way.
Issues, but we've got to focus on your future.
Asperger's?
We've got to focus on reversing the decline of our country. I learned in the military, I was assigned with U.S. Navy SEALs in Iraq, that you focus on the mission above all else. You can't get distracted. So Republicans, we've got to look forward, and we've got to make sure that we're bringing the message that can win in November 2021.
Vice President Pence, what do you think, Vice President?
Is to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. I think.
Okay, I do have a question because I did not know the answer to this question until recently. Do you guys actually know what it means to be a conservative? What does conservative mean? Like, oh, I'm conservative. Oh, I'm liberal. Do you actually know what it means? I didn't. Conservative means that you believe the concept. Well, this is how I understand it to mean, and I could be wrong, and I can change my mind later. You take the Constitution of this United States to be literal. You conserve it. You don't change it. When our founding fathers wrote the Constitution, it was meant to last years and years and years. And it was meant to be a slow process so that people couldn't just come in and do 160 something executive orders in 2.5 years. That's dictatorship. That's not a government. That's not a conservative. Yes, I agreed, Freedom.
I think the American people deserve to know whether everyone on this stage agrees that I kept my oath to the Constitution that day. There's no more important duty. So answer the question.
I've answered this before.
So yes.
Why are we? Mike did his duty. I got no beef with him. But here's the thing: is this what we're going to be focusing on
I'm relieved.
going forward? The rehashing of this. I'll tell you,
Governor
the
DeSantis,
Democrats would love that, and they will win if we let him get away with it. I'm not letting Biden hang out in the basement this time. We're going to run him ragged around this country, and we're going to hold him accountable.
Let me just say, Governor DeSantis, we spent an hour talking about policy. Former President Trump is beating you by 30, 40 points in many polls. So it is a factor in the GOP primary. Governor Hutchinson, you did not raise your hand.
I did not raise my hand because there's an important issue we as a party 100%. Have to face. And over a year ago, I said that Donald Trump was morally disqualified.
I can't even listen to this guy. I don't even know why this guy is on the stage. And I mean zero disrespect, but I follow politics. I listen to news, stupid things on all platforms, MSNBC, Fox, ABC, whatever. Never even really thought anything of this guy. Maybe he'd be good. Just don't see it.
From being president again as a result of what happened on January 6th. More people are understanding the importance of that, including conservative legal scholars who says he may be disqualified under the 14th Amendment from being president again as a result of the insurrection. This is something
there was no insurrection. Screw you. I'm going to talk over you because you're talking out of your ass right now. You're talking out of your ass.
I'm not going to support
and I'm a lady.
Somebody who's been convicted
so for me to
of a
say that in
felony
public,
or who is disqualified under our Constitution, and that's consistent with RNC rules. and I hope everybody would agree with
Well,
me.
so is the vape. Gabby.
Martha, can I answer the question?
Can I get in on that?
Okay, I'd like to answer.
I've
you're
already
gonna like
been in
my
on
answer. Hang
it,
in
Vice
there.
President Pence.
All right, I'd like to answer the question you
ahead.
asked and not give a
I guess I'll have
speech.
I will
Mike
change
Pence
my opinion.
stood for the Constitution. And he deserves not grudging credit. He deserves our thanks as Americans for putting his oath of office.
Okay, sorry, I have to pause. There was no rules one way or another whether Mike Pence could or could not delay the elections. Like, he could have said no, and they could have investigated. I don't know. It's a long story. It was not clear cut because they passed a law to make it very clear cut. So in 2020, it's very up in the air whether Mike Pence could have changed things. He very well could have, because they then passed a law to make sure that the vice president of the United States could not be the deciding factor of the next president. Food for thought.
Office and the Constitution of the United States before personal, political, and unfair pressure. And the argument that we need to have in this party before we can move on to the issues that Ron talked about is we have to dispense with the person who said that we need to suspend the Constitution to put forward his political career. Mike Pence said no, and he deserves credit for it.
Okay.
Oh, who said no? Because I want to be president in 4 years. Not you.
Vice President Pence did the right thing that day or not?
I do think that Vice President Pence did the right thing, and I do think that we need to give him credit for that. But
Won't
what I will
vote for her
also
either.
tell you is, look,
Hi, DNL mentors.
when it comes to whether President Trump should
X
serve or not, I
off
trust
the
the
list.
American people. Let them vote. Let them decide. But what they will tell you is that it is time for a new generational conservative leader. We have to look at the fact that 3/4 of Americans don't
I just
want
explained
a
that, DL
rematch
mentors.
between Trump
Thank you.
and Biden.
Thank
and we
you.
have to face the fact that Trump is the most disliked politician in America. We can't win a general election that way.
Oh, they didn't make an amendment? I didn't realize that.
Happy to
That
answer
would
the
be a good
question.
thing to
Mike Pence
cover.
did the right thing on January 6th. But I would say you started off the top of this hour saying we're going to talk about China, Ukraine, education. We are. China is the number
Yes,
one
he
threat to our
did,
country.
Gabby.
And
He
every
did have
minute
that right.
that these 8 candidates spend talking about the past instead about the future is time that is just you know who loves it? Biden loves it, but China loves it when we're talking about the past.
Yes,
As promised, we were going to spend a few questions on
nervous
it, let
about it.
people say what they wanted to say, and now, indeed, we are moving on.
Very,
to the
very
subject.
The
nervous.
U.S. has committed nearly 77.
Can I speak on this issue? I was
You
kind of
did
involved.
you answered on this.
You did
You did
say
answer.
something.
Yeah.
I thought we
No.
thought you were done, but you
No, I
please.
wasn't done.
Well, Mike, why don't you say this? Join me in making a commitment that on day one you would pardon Donald Trump. I'm the only candidate on the
Vivek
stage.
and Trump
who had the
are not
courage to
Republican
say
or Democrat.
that is how we
More
move our
libertarian.
nation forward.
To me, that's a lie. I do love
Exactly
Trump.
right.
Will be convicted of these crimes.
And
You should be able to make a commitment the same
Make your own
justice
party
system
and
that
run
was
under
this
your own
There's
party.
a difference between you and me.
Yeah, I'm not a professional politician. That's the difference. Who can answer a question?
I've actually given pardons when I was governor of the state of Indiana. It usually follows a finding of guilt and contrition by the individual that's been convicted. So, look, if I'm
True,
president
Gabby.
of the United States, we'll give fair consideration to any pardon request. But if I may,
If I may,
it's not
may.
about looking back at January 2021. It's about January 20th, 2017. I put my left
Oh,
hand on
really?
Ronald Reagan's Bible. I raised my right hand. And I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
No, it
And
doesn't.
it ended with a
I
prayer.
understand.
So help me God.
I get why they do it.
It was a promise that I made to the American
I
people.
get why they do it.
But I also made it to my Heavenly Father. Every day for 4 years, I sought to keep that oath. And everyone on this stage needs to make it clear whether or not they'll do the same if they earn this job and the confidence of the American people. Now, look, I've made it clear. I had hoped that the issues surrounding the 2020 election and the controversies around January 6th had not come to this, had not
That's
come to criminal
communism,
proceedings.
Brimstone.
I would rather they had been resolved by the American people and the American people alone. But no one's above the law, and President
No
Trump
one's
is
above the law.
entitled to the presumption of innocence that every...
Okay. I've never done a deep dive into Pence. I would like to see if he's so polished and like never broken the law, speeding tickets, drunk driving. I would like to know those things. I have never looked into it. Never heard anything about it. Is he as like amazing and perfect as everyone says that he is, or that he thinks he is? Just, I don't know.
American is entitled to, and we will make sure and extend that to him. But the American people deserve to know that the president asked me in his request that I reject or return votes unilaterally, power that no vice president in American history had ever exercised or taken. He asked me to put him over the Constitution. And I chose the Constitution, and I always will. I had no right to overturn the election, and Kamala Harris...
Are you though?
Right to
Are you
overturn the
though?
election
Because you
when
were
we beat
able
them in
to do that
2024.
under our Constitution. And it could have just been
Now, we're
delayed
moving on to other
for a
issues.
while and had
The
a
U.S.
proper
has
decision.
committed nearly
No?
$77 billion
Am I
in aid to the
misunderstanding?
Ukraine war. The administration is now asking Congress for $24 billion more. Regardless of that, the specifics of that plan.
Conditional.
Is there
Okay.
anyone on stage
It's
who
no
would
Vietnam
not
Watchers.
support the increase of more funding to Ukraine?
We would need
I agree.
Europe needs to step up. I mean, I would have Europe step up and do their job.
Mr. Ramaswamy, but you're saying you would not too, Governor DeSantis?
I will have Europe pull their weight. Right now, they're not doing
you
that.
would not support
and I think
more
we need
funding?
to do, and I think our support should be contingent on them doing it.
Pull their weight. It's not even, who cares if Europe pulls their weight? Whether they do or not, why are we there? That's my question. Why are we there? Why?
And I would have support in China to be able to take
China?
And do what we need to
China?
do with China.
Mr. Ramaswamy, you would not
China?
support an increase of funding to Ukraine.
I would not. And I think that this is disastrous, that we are protecting against
Yes.
an invasion across
I
somebody
agree.
else's border when we should use those same military resources to prevent across the invasion of our own
Hey.
southern border here in the United States of America. We are driving Russia further into China's hands. The Russia-China alliance is the single greatest threat we face. And I find it offensive
Never mind.
that we have professional
Never mind.
politicians on the stage that will make a pilgrimage to Kyiv, to their Pope, Zelensky, without doing the same thing for people in Maui or the south side of Chicago
all right,
or
Brett.
Kensington.
Okay.
I think that we have to put the interests of Americans first.
He was referring-
Secure our own border instead of somebody else's.
He was referring-
And the reality is, this is also how we project strength
And he
by
says
making
we're
America
using
strong
sound
at
bites.
home.
Thank you.
All right, we
We're
heard,
gonna go-
heard the names. Governor
let's
Christie
go to-
first.
All right, look, I did go to Ukraine, and I went to Ukraine because I wanted to see for myself what Vladimir Putin's army was doing to the free Ukrainian people. And let me tell you, I want you all to look around this arena tonight and imagine that every one of these seats was filled. And if every one of them was filled, there would still be 2,500 more children outside to make over 20,000 who have been abducted, stolen, ripped from their mothers and fathers, and brought back to Russia to be programmed to fight their own families. They have gouged out people's eyes, cut off their ears, and shot people in the back of the head, men, and then gone into those homes and raped the daughters and the wives who were left as widows and orphans. This is the Vladimir Putin. This is the Vladimir Putin who Donald Trump called brilliant and a genius. If we don't stand up against
And
this
he
type
is
of
brilliant
autocratic
and a
killing
genius.
in the world,
marching to
we will be next.
He is. He is very smart. This guy is stupid.
You were mentioned.
Governor Haley, we'll come back.
Vice President Pence was mentioned. You get 30 seconds.
Yeah, well, let me be clear. Anybody that thinks that we can't solve the problems here
Someone
in the
can
United States
be smart
and be the leader
and
of the free
still do the
world
wrong thing.
has a pretty small view of the greatest nation on earth.
That is incorrect.
We can do both, Vivek. We've
That's
done
not
both.
the- That's
We've
not
been
the
the
screen
leader
I
of the free
picked.
world
Sorry
and the
for
arsenal of
that.
democracy for years. The Reagan Doctrine years ago made it
apologize.
clear. We said, if you're willing to fight the communists on your soil, we'll give you the means to fight them there so our troops
Nope.
don't have to fight them. Vivek, if
Not
we
at
do
all.
the giveaway that you want to give to Putin to give him his land, it's not going to be too long before he rolls across a NATO border. And frankly, our men and women of our armed forces
Okay. I know I'm being really animated because this is really pissing me off because I've listened to so many different things. And I am willing to admit I'm wrong if I find some factual evidence that is different. The whole reason that Putin is in Ukraine is because the people of that province wanted his help. They were tired of being killed. They were tired of their families being slaughtered. They were tired of it. He has not gone over. He could go in and demolish that country, and he has not. Why?
are going to have to go and fight.
Sorry.
Him. I want to let the Ukrainians
Pisses
fight
me off.
and drive Putin and the Russians back out into Russia.
I need to stop pausing. I'm sorry. Every time I pause, it backs up.
I have a newsflash. The USSR does not exist anymore. It fell back in
Yes.
1990.
Yes, they did.
You talked about the communists. And the real communists that we have to address
Do you
right
not
now
have any
is the
idea what Vladimir Putin's aims
you
are?
already spoke. Now I actually have something to say.
Vladimir Putin has been saying he wants to reestablish the old Soviet sphere
You've made
of
your point,
influence.
Vice President.
Now, if you think I'm sorry if I insulted him by calling him a communist. He is a dictator and a murderer, and the United States of America needs to stand.
Well, he ain't getting that with that fly on his head. Never.
Respond. The real threat we face today is communist China. And we
On
are
purpose,
driving
they did.
Russia further into
On
China's
purpose.
arms. The
They
Russia-China
knew
military
this would
alliance
happen.
is the single greatest threat we face.
So
Nobody
wrong.
in either political party's talking about it. And I am the only non-neocon on this stage who will keep us out of war.
Mr. Vice President, we can't hear. Mr. Vice President,
is to give Russia
Mr. Vice
everything
President.
they've got.
Oh, yeah.
Give them a
Yes.
promise that Ukraine will never be
Every
in NATO,
5
and then
to 1
somehow
people.
Mr. Vice President.
China will not
For
think
every
about taking
5
Taiwan.
dead in Ukraine,
we achieve
1 dead
peace
Russia.
through strength.
Mr. Vice
and
President.
America needs to stand for freedom.
Okay. Here
He's
we go.
not.
We need to establish some ground rules
When
here,
we
folks.
hear
You're
this
doing a good
bell,
job.
That means your time's done.
You're done.
So, Mr. Vice President, we appreciate your aggressiveness here. 30 seconds is 30 seconds. Mr. Ramaswamy, you were mentioned. You get 30 seconds.
So the reality is that today,
Oh, really?
Ukraine
Who?
is not a priority for the United States of America. And I think that the same people who took us into the Iraq War, the same people who took us into the Vietnam War, you cannot start another no-win war. And I do not want to get to the point where we're sending our military resources abroad when
Yes,
we could be better
Brimstone.
using
It
them
was-
here at
it
home
was
to protect
sabotaged
our
by
own
the US.
borders,
I
protect the
100%
homeland.
agree.
All right.
That will be my top priority in foreign
I think
policy.
we gave you
Protect
more
this
than the 30
homeland.
seconds in the rebut. So I do want to get to some other people because everybody, we respect everybody's time here. So, Governor Haley, you did not raise your hand, meaning that you would support more funding for the Ukraine war. You have said of Governor DeSantis that you didn't appreciate it when he initially called it a territorial dispute. Why?
First of all, the American
watched
president
it
needs to
to
have
know
moral
what
clarity.
opposition
They need
is.
to know the difference between right and wrong. They need to know the difference between good and evil. When you look at the situation with Russia and Ukraine, here you have a pro-American country that was invaded by a thug. So when you want to talk about what has been given to Ukraine, less than 3.5% of our defense budget has been given to Ukraine. If you look at the percentages per GDP, 11 of the European countries have given more than the U.S. But what's really important is go back to when China and Russia held hands, shook hands before the Olympics, and named themselves unlimited partners. A win for Russia is a win for China. We have to know that. Ukraine is the first.
Okay, now I'm going to get Boger. I don't give a shit about China and Russia alliance. Well, deep down, I probably do. But for her to make it about that I don't think is accurate or fair. Why are we really at war with Ukraine? It started with bioweapons labs. Putin attacked those labs very strategically. Every place he bombed in Ukraine had a bioweapons lab. The second thing, to free the people of Ukraine who wanted to be part of Russia. I'm not saying I like Putin. I don't care. But let's just be factual and take the emotion out of everything. Please, let's just be honest.
Line of defense for us. And the problem that Vivek doesn't understand is he wants to hand Ukraine to Russia. He wants to let China eat Taiwan. He wants to go and stop funding Israel. You don't do that to friends. What you do instead is you have the backs of your friends. Ukraine is the front line of defense. Putin has said, once Russia takes Ukraine, Poland and the Baltics are next. That's a world war. We're trying to prevent war. Look at what Putin did today. He killed Prigozhin. When I was at the UN, the Russian ambassador suddenly died. This guy is a murderer, and you are choosing a murderer over a pro-American country.
The guy should have went to prison for trying to cause a coup. I don't know anything about it, but think about that. Just think about it for just a minute.
First of all, Mr. Ramaswamy, you have 30 seconds. Mr. DeSantis,
Nikki, I wish you well in your future career on the boards of Lockheed and Raytheon.
I'm not
but
on the
fact of the matter,
and
Boeing came off of it, but you've been pushing this lie.
Yes, she was.
Pushing this lie all week, Nikki.
She lied. I don't like it. I won't vote for her
Let me
either.
address that. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to address each of those right now. The false lies of a professional politician. There you have it.
Your watch,
so the reality
make America less safe. You have no foreign policy experience, and it shows.
There is less than 40 minutes left. 32 minutes.
In the pointless wars we've gotten into. I have to address that. So our relationship with Israel will never be stronger than by the end of my first term.
I had technical difficulties at the first of this movie. That's on me. So if you have other people you want to go watch, go ahead. I appreciate you guys for being here.
Accords 2.0. I will partner with Israel to make sure Iran never is nuclear armed. But you know what I love about Israel? And I've been there probably in the last 10 years more than most people on this stage. You know what I love about them? I love their border policies. I love their tough on crime policies. I love that they have a national identity and an iron dome to protect their homeland. And so, yes, I want to learn from the friends that we're supporting. And what puzzles me is, I want to learn from those and apply those to protect our homeland, Nikki. That is the answer.
Women, and I'm a woman, stay out of politics. You're too emotional.
Not only
be logical.
It's not a territorial dispute
President of the United States, your first obligation is to defend our country and its people. And that means you're sending all this money, but you're not doing what we need to do to secure our own border.
Ridiculous.
We have tens of thousands of people who are being killed because we're
No,
not
you
handling
can't.
it. And so
What is your focus?
A national emergency.
What is your
I'm
priority?
not going to send troops to Ukraine, but I am going to send them to our southern border. When these drug pushers are bringing fentanyl across the border, that's going to be the last thing they do. We're going to use force, and we're going to leave them stone cold dead.
We're actually going to move
emotional.
on to China.
We
We're
are.
going to talk about China.
Okay.
Governor
We need to be
Berger,
logical.
China has the biggest navy in the world, the biggest army in the world. Now they have warships off the coast of Alaska. They are threatening Taiwan. In coming years, China will have 1,500 nuclear warheads.
That talk is
it's
not
believed.
allowed in here.
The U.S. just arrested 2 sailors accused of spying for China within our military.
Does
So
she
the
have a fake
question
name?
is, how would you deter China as a president, Berger?
Well, this is the number one issue we're facing.
Oh,
and of course,
this
we
guy?
haven't been talking about
Haven't
it. And
seen
we
him
act
for a
like that
minute.
letting Russia win in the Ukraine is like a gimme as opposed to a gift to China. Russia has become China's
Oh my
gas
God,
station.
Brimstone.
But how would we do it? The Biden administration is a complete fail. China imports 10 million barrels of oil a day, more
Yes.
than any other country in the
We
world.
do,
They
Gabby.
do not even have all the food they need to feed everybody in that country. So they don't have energy security or food security. But the Biden administration sends Blinken, Yellen over there.
Guys, should I just fast forward to this guy? Is he relevant? because in the future I can just fast forward through what he has to say. Yeah, never mind.
They're over there talking. They don't even bring up energy because they're too busy trying to kill the U.S. energy here. And what we need to do is not meetings, not press releases, because something that would send a lot more than a press release is actually Harpoon missiles. We need anti-ship missiles on Taiwan. The way that you have a war never start, which is the goal, the way you have peace through strength, is that you actually have strength. You actually have deterrence. And what we have,
I don't know on this app.
What we got going on in Ukraine is an example of when deterrence fail. What is an example there of Biden's disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan? The fact that he greenlighted Putin moving into Ukraine, and then now.
Okay, fast forward past him. Oh wait, I went too far now. My bad. I suck at this. Never mind. I'm just going to let things play.
Absolutely, we can do that because guess what? There's only 19,855 authorized people for the Border Patrol, but they're not all staff because the Biden administration doesn't enforce law enforcement. But Biden administration wanted to put 87,000 people in the IRS as opposed to giving the money and the support we need to our own Border Patrol.
Okay. Senator Scott on China, that same question.
And I speak about China.
Let's fire the 87,000 IRS agents and hire or double the number of Border Patrol agents. I just left Yuma, Arizona about 2 weeks ago. The most pressing need of the American people from a national security standpoint is our southern border.
But not,
it has led to the death of
70,000
Americans because of fentanyl. Plus 6 million illegal crossings since President Biden has taken office, and 200 people on our national security watch list have been caught at our border. How many have not been caught at our southern border? If we just spend $10 billion, we could finish
Hi, Pinky Stalls. I don't know you. Welcome to my chat.
More, we could have the military-grade technology to surveil our southern border to stop the flow of fentanyl and save 70,000 Americans a year.
Okay, someone said stop. What did they say? Where did you see something about someone saying that we need to have military on the borders? Okay, yes. Military on the borders is great. Having the National Guard is great. How about senators, governors, presidents, vice presidents? How about DEA agents? How about they stop profiting from getting guns, drugs across the border? How about that stop first? That might be an angle to address. Yes, let's bring the military there. It's like when your body is sick. It's like, oh, I took aspirin, I took Tylenol, but why are you sick? Because you're an alcoholic, you eat too much food, you eat too much fat, too many carbs. What's the real issue? So maybe that is the real issue. I think it's bigger than that. I think it's maybe you need to just eat meat. Okay, bad analogy. Strike that. Strike that from the record, please. Anyway, what is the real problem? It's that people who are high up are on the take and are making money by allowing these drugs to come to our country and to kill our citizens, to kill our children. I have to have that talk with my kids and tell them, don't ever do drugs, not even weed, which is very safe, right? Don't do weed because it might be laced with fentanyl. Don't do anything because it might be laced. You could die your first time ever. Okay, that rant's done. Sorry.
That should be the priority of this government. And as the next president of the United States, I will make that border wall complete.
There are many more questions on China. I do want to ask about.
I want to say I couldn't agree more. It's not just the 70,000 from fentanyl. We've lost 200,000 people to overdoses since Biden took office. That's 300 people a day. We're taking mass casualties. And those aren't, that's a statistic, but these are sons and daughters, nieces and nephews that we're losing. We've got North Dakota troops down there flying
those could be
helicopter
laced like
missions
tacos.
from San Diego to the Gulf Coast, trying to stop
Or
these
might.
transnational criminal
Brimstones.
organizations. They've
You said
got
that
better
twice
funding
now.
on their side than we've got on our side.
Speaking of which, Governor Hutchinson, images from earlier this month, Governor Hutchinson,
with Mexico,
Vice President Pence,
policy.
images from earlier this month.
We secured the southern
Vice
border of
President
the United
Pence, it
States.
really doesn't help. I'm asking a question. Earlier this month,
I'm asking a question, Mike Pence. When you were debating Kamala Harris, was that fly on your head a robot or was it real? I really just want to know. Just kidding.
Images showed suspected cartel members crossing into Texas with rifles. Do you consider this an invasion?
Good plan, Mike.
Would you authorize
Glad.
lethal force along that border?
There would be lethal force used by the Border Patrol, law enforcement as needed to protect the border. Absolutely. When you look at the military has to be used for intelligence gathering purposes. This is not unusual. Whenever I was in the Bush administration, we went down there and met with President Vicente Fox of Mexico and asked his help on going after the cartels. And he looked at me and said, they're a problem to us as well. And so we joined together and we took down the Ariana Felix brothers, leading the Tijuana cartel. And that made a difference. Ramon was shot
I
and killed,
believe you,
and
Asa.
Ben Amin was captured.
You're 100% correct.
Cooperation makes a difference. We cannot be successful going against the cartel
Right, Julian?
unless
Oh my God.
we bring in Mexico as a partner. We have to use economic pressure to accomplish that. President Obrador has not been helpful, and we have to use economic pressure that this administration is not using.
Oh,
the
God.
rule of law has to
This
matter
guy-
on both sides of it.
Okay.
This is critical. I've done it. We know what needs to be done. The military has to be limited in its use. When after
limited.
9/11, we had the global war on terror, and guess what? We protected the border at the same time. You can do both.
Okay, let's go to Governor DeSantis. So as president, would you support sending U.S. Special Forces over the border into Mexico to take out fentanyl labs, to take out drug cartel operations? Would you support that kind of American military use?
Yes, and I will do it on day one. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
The
Yes, he will.
cartels are
Day
killing
one.
tens of thousands of
Day
our fellow citizens.
one.
You
I
want
don't
to talk
believe him,
about a
though.
country in decline? You
Well,
have the
maybe I do.
cartels controlling a lot of part of your southern border. We have to reestablish the rule of law, and we have to defend our people. The President of the United States has got to use all available powers as Commander-in-Chief to protect our country and to protect the people. So when they're coming across, yes, we're going to use lethal force. Yes, we reserve the right to operate. How many more tens of thousands are we going to let to die? I am sick. I've met angel moms throughout this country. I met a lady in Texas named Tracy, and her son took one Percocet that was laced with fentanyl, immediately died. That is happening all across this country because of the poison that they are bringing in. So as president, would I use force? Would I treat them as foreign terrorist organizations? You're darn right I would.
You know, Vice President Pence, why would you be better at this issue than Governor DeSantis? Governor DeSantis on the campaign trail refers to your administration as not finishing the wall.
Right. Look, we secured the southern border of the United States of America and reduced illegal immigration and asylum abuse by 90%. When Joe Biden took over, he threw open the southern border of the United States, and the wave of humanity, the wave of fentanyl that's been eloquently described here is a wave of human tragedy across this country. But Martha, you began this evening talking about who is best prepared to be the next president of the United States. And I have to tell you, with all humility, I was there when we negotiated through the government shutdown and got the funding available to build the wall. I was negotiating on Capitol Hill around the clock. I negotiated the Remain in Mexico policy on behalf of the President of the United States. And AC, you're so right. It's because
can't
we
hear
used
me?
economic
I'm
pressure
here.
to bring the Mexicans to
I'm
the
just not
table,
talking.
and they allowed us to have people wait
Can
in
you
Mexico
still hear me?
while they applied for asylum and ended asylum abuse overnight. We got the Mexicans to deploy their National Guard to their southern border and to our southern border as never before. And I want to promise you, as President of the United States of America,
Okay,
I
I
will
was just
engage
listening for a minute.
Mexico the exact same way, and we will partner with the Mexican military, and we will hunt down and destroy the cartels that are claiming lives in the United States of
Okay,
America.
thank you. Another issue that is related to this is that almost 7 million migrants have crossed this border, our southern border, during the Biden administration. So, Governor Christie, what would you do about the 7 million who are here? How would you handle them? What would you do?
7 million
The first
is
thing
a
we need
lot
to do
of
is
people.
to stop any more from coming. That's the first thing we need to do. Then the next thing we need to do with the folks that are here is to, again, as we've talked about all night tonight, we have to have law and order in this country. We have to enforce the law. And what that means is to make sure that people who come here illegally are not rewarded for being here illegally. We have so many wonderful people from around the world who are waiting.
This is the only topic that I agree with him on. We should not reward people for coming here illegally. Come here, pay your taxes, come here properly on a green card, whatever. This is the only thing I agree with Chris Christie on, other than the fact that I love McDonald's double cheeseburgers. However, I only eat them every 3 years.
In line, following the law to try to come here and pursue the
Correct.
American dream. And those people are waiting and waiting and waiting because we haven't dealt with the problem of the folks who are here. We have to have them detained. We have to make sure that they are not rewarded for having broken the law. And one last thing on this fentanyl issue. With China, we can't take our eye off of that ball.
Right.
Yes, it's important that we secure the border. Very important, as I just said. But China is sending these chemicals to these drug cartels for them to create the fentanyl that is killing hundreds of thousands of our citizens. The Chinese are engaging in an act of war against us, killing our citizens. We better make that priority one
Or
in our
Five Guys.
conversations with
Royal.
China and to
Royal.
try to straighten that relationship out, because if we don't, we're going to lose more and more of our
I
citizens.
just want to clarify, would you send those people back?
Of course. You'd have to.
Yep. Okay, I'm pushing pause.
The nation.
Okay, everyone that's here with me tonight, I appreciate you. If you're on Twitch, please follow me. On YouTube and Rumble, give me a thumbs up. There's also a banner underneath, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, which I spelt wrong. There's not supposed to be a space, at Talk with Sally. If you do any of the alternative apps, please let me know so that I can look on my phone and give you the proper things. On Rumble right now, you can do Rumble rants, and I think it's 20%. If you do it through computer, it's 20% till the end of the year. If it's through the app on mobile, it's 100%, if I remember correctly. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Report card was the weakest ever for American school children, exposing chronic absenteeism, deep declines for reading and math for 15-year-olds and 13-year-olds. Governor DeSantis, you would eliminate, you said, the Department of Education.
Thank you, Gabby.
But as president, would you still have a responsibility to fix this crisis as we see it?
Absolutely. The decline in education is one of the major reasons why our country is in decline. We need education in this country, not indoctrination in this country. And in Florida, we stood up for what was right. First, we had schools open. during COVID.
I agree.
And a lot of the problems that we've seen are because these lockdown
100%
states
agree
lock
with
their
this.
kids out of school for a year and a half. That was wrong. We stood up. I took a lot of fire for that. I was pilloried by the media, but I stood for our kids. And as president, I'll stand for you and your kids as well. But we have to make sure that what our schools are doing is focusing on solid academics. In Florida, we eliminated critical race theory from our K through 12 schools. We eliminated gender ideology from our K through 12 schools. And we have elevated the importance of American civics in teaching our kids about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. As president, I'm going to lead an effort to increase civic understanding and knowledge of our Constitution. We cannot be graduating students that don't have any foundation in what it means to be an American.
Mr. Ramaswamy, Mr. Ramaswamy,
You got the thumbs up button?
Mr. Ramaswamy, hold on, Senator Scott. You've said that the Department of Education, the FBI, the ATF, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the IRS, the Department of Commerce, many of these should not exist.
That's correct.
So to the education question, how would you deal with the crisis?
So look, we have a crisis of achievement. Let's shut down the head of the snake, the Department of Education. Take that $80 billion, put it in the hands of parents across this country. This is the civil rights issue of our time.
I do agree with
Allow
that.
any parent to choose
Give
where they
us
send their kids to
back
school. And the
our
teachers'
money.
unions at the local level to allow
I
public
want
schools to compete.
to
And then revive
believe
our
you.
national identity
I want
where
to.
every high school senior
I
should
want
have
to.
to pass the same civics test that,
You're
frankly,
too
every
polished.
immigrant, including my mother, had to pass in order to become a citizen of this country.
You
And the
remind
fact
me of the
matter
guy
is,
from Germany.
Look, there's a part
Because
of
World
education
War
policy
II.
that also rests with the family. I didn't grow
Always
up in
said
money,
the right things
but
at
you know
the right
the word
time.
privilege gets used a lot. Well, you know what? I did have the ultimate privilege.
Thank you,
of two parents
Freedom.
in the
I
house
appreciate you.
with a focus on educational achievement. And I want every kid to enjoy that. So part of the problem is we also have a federal government that pays single women
And they
more
should.
not to have a man in the house than to have a man in the house, contributing to an epidemic of fatherlessness. And I think that goes hand in
Or
glove
not get married,
with the
so that's
education
false.
crisis. Remember, education starts with
That's
the family,
false.
and the nuclear family is the
Because you
greatest form of
could
governance known to
live
mankind.
together and not be married. Not accurate.
Governor Haley has said.
Needs more data.
Governor Haley has said that biological boys playing in girls' sports is the women's issue of our time.
No.
You said that even though you
Education
signed a
needs to
ban
be done
on
at the
this in
home
North
level.
Dakota, that there hadn't been one instance
Or
where it was
communal
actually
level,
needed.
in
Are
my
you saying
opinion.
that you think that
Co-ops.
too much is made of this issue?
No, I'm saying in North Dakota, we made a priority of protecting women's sports, and we've done that.
In my opinion, if I were to do things differently, I would have homeschooled my kids. In my state, it's kind of difficult to do that. I would have. If I could have the government grants that they pay people to homeschool your kids, yeah, 100% I would. I wouldn't have to work. I could be home with my kids. I could raise them, educate them, teach them to be responsible, right? Instead, I send them out to public school where the government puts off their mandates, teaches them what they think they should know. No child left behind. Ruined my kids' education. Obama's No Child Left Behind. I tried to get my son held back because he was sick in 7th grade in October when he learned equations. If you can't do an equation, you're screwed. And they passed him year after year after year until 11th grade because no kid could be left behind. No, hold him back, make him repeat, educate him, teach him there's consequences for being a failure. You fail, you don't get to move on. Okay, we're watching the rest of this.
In our state, but I
sorry.
would absolutely do that. But I do think when we start talking about education and we think that we're going to have a federal government one size fits all, we're just completely losing
No.
track of the fact
They were
that
done.
education
My son was
differs by
graduated.
state.
Bozo.
Some school districts are doing
Done.
a fantastic job, some
Graduated.
less so. But the idea that every school district, state, and every teacher is somehow indoctrinating people is just false. You know, when I was building a company from scratch, you know, with
Hi,
small town
Fox.
kids, and we went,
How
you know,
are
grew up in a town of
you?
300, but we built a global company in 132 countries with over 100,000
Obama.
customers.
That
We
was
listened to those
Obama,
customers.
Gabby.
We spent time with them. We talked to them.
Trust
we did that.
me,
And
it was
as
Obama.
governor, well, education is one of the biggest part of a state budget. So as a governor, I shadow a student. I don't, the night before I find out the student finds out, I'm going to go to every class. with
And
them.
if it's not,
don't
then
sit
I
and
was
lecture
wrong.
school districts how to do it. I go and see the experience. And there's a lot of things that have to change. But what needs to change in education is it's innovation. We're doing it the same way we did it 50 years ago.
They
with
can, if
innovation,
you're educated
not
yourself,
regulation.
for
I would
sure.
get rid of the Department of Education. I would give block grants to schools, but I'd give them on merit based on who's doing the most innovative. I just got done holding the 7th annual Governor's
blah, blah,
Conference
blah,
on
blah,
Innovation
blah.
Education. You should see what the
Blah,
people are
blah.
doing when you cut loose the red tape, get the burden off their back. They care. Teachers in this country, the vast majority of them care about those kids. They're working in low-paying jobs, and they're fighting for those kids and their families.
Disagree.
Said that this is the women's issue of our time.
Some.
First, I'll tell you, as you know,
I had
as a
amazing
parent,
teachers.
The one thing
I
you want is for
disagree.
your child
Not
to
all.
have a better life than you did.
Some.
And we can talk about all of these things, and there's a lot of crazy woke things happening in schools, but we've got to get these kids reading. If a child can't read by 3rd grade, they're
No,
4
they
times
have to
less
still
likely
take
to
a test,
graduate high
Gabby.
school. So
They
we need to make
still
sure we
have
bring
to
in
pass
reading
the
remediation
standardized
all
test.
over this country. We need
They're
transparency
taking
in the classroom because parents should never have to
standardized
wonder what's
tests
being
away.
said or taught to their children in the
You
classroom.
can't pass a kid
Parents
if he
need to
sucks.
be deciding which schools
You
their kids
can't.
go to because they know best. And let's put vocational classes back
They will
into
never
the high schools.
succeed.
Let's teach our kids to build things again.
Hold them back
When
so
we
they
do
can
that,
learn.
we allow that innovation.
Make them
That's when it'll get
relearn
back. And yes, I will always
consequences.
say I'm going to fight for girls all day long because strong girls become strong women become strong leaders, and biological boys don't belong in the locker rooms of any of our girls.
True. Agree with that.
The lightning round.
I
And the
do
first
agree with
question is
that.
going to go to you, Vice President. So this is a lightning round of questions. 30-second answers, please. President Biden will be 82 years old on Inauguration Day. Nearly 70% of Americans say that he is too old to serve. Should presidents have to pass a mental and physical test in order to serve, Vice President Pence?
Well, it might be a good idea to have everybody in Washington, D.C. pass a mental and
I'm sorry. I don't know why this video is doing this.
and people can
I'm
make those
sorry.
judgments.
They will do better.
Because the
Response.
president is too old.
It's like if I'm an electrician, which I have been, I was for 5 years in college. And I don't know how to wire a house, but yet they let me do it by myself. Will that house burn down? That's the same with education. Are you going to pass a student who doesn't really know what they're doing just because no kid left behind? It's not right, and it's not okay. And let's see if this video works now.
And we don't need a president who's too young. We need a president who's been there. We need a president who knows how Congress works, how the White House works, how states work. And on this education issue, Martha, I was fighting against No Child Left Behind when
Yes,
Republicans
it
were
does.
doubling the Department of Education.
cried.
I'll also shut down the
What a
federal
shame.
Department of Education. And when I was governor, we doubled the size
Yes,
of the largest
so.
school choice program in America. And we'll give school choice to every family in America when I'm in the White House.
This is a lightning round, Mr. Ramaswamy. I think you were mentioned there. You're 38. You're the youngest on the stage. You've said, and you just said, you want a civics test or public service for those under 25 to be able to vote. So the question is, do you want a mental acuity test for presidents over 75?
I believe in the people of this country to tell the difference between somebody who's an automaton and somebody who's actually a thinking agent in the White House, which we don't have in there today. And I will tell you, I want to address Vice President Pence's comment. I think we do need somebody of a different generation to lead this nation forward. Look at the way I've run this campaign. Going to the south side of Chicago, to Kensington, in the middle of Philadelphia, where traditional Republican candidates don't go. We have an opportunity to build a multi-ethnic working class majority to deliver a landslide, and I think I'm the only candidate in this race, young or old, black or white, to bring
My
all of those
apologies.
voters along to deliver a Reagan 1980 revolution. We're going to do it in 2024.
Same question to you, Governor.
in a presidential election until 2020.
I will answer that. I will answer that.
30 seconds.
30-second quick answer.
You guys have to get control of this debate.
Everybody's going to get a chance.
Listen, we're getting control of the debate. This is a lightning round, not rolling thunder. Governor Hutchinson, you have 30 seconds on the same question.
On education, first of all, look at Arkansas. We have to compete with China.
On
Our computer
education.
Science education. We led the nation in computer science education, going from 1,100 students to 23,000 students taking it. This is how you compete with China. As President of the United States, I will make sure we go from 51% of our schools offering computer science to every school in rural areas and urban areas offering computer science for the benefit of our kids, and we can compete with China in terms of technology.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, really? All right. All right, Gabby. This is the first thing that I'm going to disagree with you. I'm not for homeschooling right now, but education should formally be done at the state and federal level. Okay. People who like to be dressed as cats and other animals and still go to school and have their, oh God, how do I say this? Not be offensive. And have those ideals be normalized. You almost have to take your kids out of the public level. Government has government mandated education. So yes, you can leave them in public school. Teachers go to college, they teach in public schools. You can put them in private school, you can home teach, you can find a co-op. So homeschool doesn't mean you're the sole propriety or the sole person teaching them. It just means you as a group of people are collaborating to teach your kids to be successful. Okay? Government means indoctrination. Go back to Germany, back in the day when there was this guy that wanted to be known and created a war, World War II, and everything that he wanted, even though it wasn't correct or reasonable or ethical, this had to be taught because I am the president, I'm the prime minister, or whatever that thing is that they are in Germany, which I don't know off the top of my head. That's what you must abide to. That's what public means. So it's your choice, public or private. Anyway, it's a tough choice. It's very, very tough. And if you don't have a lot of money, you can't always do private. You can't always do co-ops because you have to be able to afford it. I am so glad my kids are out of high school. I don't have to worry anymore. Okay, that's another video for another time. Let's continue.
It's coming to you. We're trying to do a quick round of different topics here. So, Senator Scott, faith is on decline in this country. You talked about it a little bit before tonight.
It'll be done.
So is there
Give
a
it a second to
role
catch up.
for a president of the United States in changing that? What would you do to change that?
Well, our nation was founded upon the Judeo-Christian values that has made this the greatest nation on God's green earth. I'm a big believer in Ephesians 3:20 that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or imagine. Our responsibility should be to model the behavior we want others to follow. On education, the only way we change education in this nation is to break the backs of the teachers' unions. They are standing in the doorhouse of our kids, locking them in failing schools and locking them out
I agree.
of the greatest future they could have.
As President, Governor DeSantis, would you support some mandatory military service for all Americans?
I think it should be voluntary.
No.
I'm somebody that volunteered to serve, inspired by
Thank
September
you.
11th, and I
Check
deployed
mark.
to Iraq alongside U.S. Navy SEALs in places like Fallujah, Ramadi. And it's something that I think has taught me, you know, when you go in that type of environment, anything you have, your personal agenda, you check it at the door. You go there, and it's about focusing on the mission above all else. And guys come together and they get it done. And that's how I would view being the president of the United States. It's not about me. It's not about all these other side issues. My sole focus will be on your future and reversing this country's decline.
Okay, now for something a little out of
Thank
this
you.
world, and this is for
I hope you mean
Governor
that.
Christie, do you believe that the recent spike in UFO encounters?
Brimstone, don't kill me.
Yeah, you do. Come on, man. But okay, we've been hearing a lot of
That's
a lot
stupid.
of testimony in Congress,
Freedom.
and
I
people are
agree,
taking
that's
this a lot more
stupid.
seriously. And we're hearing that there are things going on that people aren't aware of. So, if you were president,
I'm
Governor
sorry,
Christie,
I was cleaning.
would you
Cleaning.
level with the American people about what the government knows about these possible
Look,
encounters?
Martha, and especially coming from a woman from New Jersey,
Classic.
I think it's horrible that just because I'm from New Jersey, you asked me about unidentified flying objects and Martians. We're different, but we're not that
Yeah.
different.
Look at her face. I
Of
did
course,
see this
the
clip.
job of the President of the United
Watch her
States
face.
is
I'm
to level
going
with
to
the
pause
American
it.
people about everything.
Look at how
The
classic.
job of the President of the United States is to stand for
I want
truth.
you to see this.
The job of the President of the United States is to be a role model for our children and our grandchildren. And so whether it was
No, make
UFOs
policy.
or this problem of education, and
Rule this
Tim's right,
country.
by the way, and I started this in 2010 by going right after the teachers' unions and
Stop. Don't do
to a
that,
time low
please.
popularity rating because they were putting themselves before our kids. That is directly not UFOs.
So in your closing statement tonight,
Okay.
please tell American voters why you are the person who can inspire this nation to a better day. These are 45 seconds.
I don't know if I messed
and
up
we
there.
begin with Governor
I didn't do nothing.
I understand why America.
No, I missed what I wanted to see her
inflation is
face.
choking us.
Shish kebabs. I'm rewinding, and you're gonna be annoyed. But
So we have to compete with China. I built
no,
computer
that's not what I
science
wanted.
education.
Oh my hell!
And people are taking this a
I'm
lot more seriously.
sorry. I've
and
never
we're
done
hearing
this
that,
before.
there are things
With
going
a video
on that people aren't aware
that I
of.
made.
So, if you were president, Governor Christie, would you
I want
level
to see her
with the
face
American
after
people
this.
about what the government knows about these
I want to see
possible
this right now.
Martha, and especially coming from a woman
Thank
from New
you,
Jersey,
Freedom.
I think it's horrible that just because I'm from New Jersey, you asked me about unidentified flying objects
Yes, it is,
and
Evan.
Martians. We're different, but we're not that different. Look, of course, the job of the President of the United States is to level with the American people about everything. The job of the President of the United States is to stand
Really?
for truth.
Really?
The job of the
And
President
you
of the United
lie?
States is to be
Really?
a role model for our children and our
Yes.
grandchildren. And so whether
Very.
it was UFOs
Very
or this
heavy.
problem of education, and Tim's right, by the way, and I started this in 2010 by going right after the teachers' unions in New Jersey and drove them down to an all-time low popularity rating because they were putting themselves before our kids. That is the
Yep.
biggest threat to our country, not UFOs. Okay.
So in your closing
Oh,
statement tonight,
Gosh dang it. Okay, never mind. I'm going to have to go do a video to zoom in on her face because her reaction was priceless. Priceless.
please tell American voters why you are the person who can inspire this nation to a better day. These are 45 seconds, and we begin with Governor Burgum.
I understand why America's hurting. Biden's inflation is choking us. I grew up in a small town.
Both of them, Gabby.
My dad died when I was a freshman in high school. My mom, widow of 3, went back to work. Every job I had growing up
I want to
was
fast
one where I
forward
took
to
a
this
shower at
dude,
the end of the day,
but I don't
not
know
at the
how.
beginning of the day.
Next time, deleted.
Our cities are less safe because of the fentanyl pouring into this country.
Maybe
Our
he's our
economy
next
is being
president.
crushed by Biden's energy
Really?
policies, which are raising the cost
Really?
of every product you
Huh.
buy, not just the
Weird.
gasoline at the pump.
Yep.
One thing
Mhm.
that I'll do as president,
Yep.
I'll
Gas
secure the
stoves.
border. I'll get this economy sprinting,
Water.
not crawling like it is right now.
Burning
And
Hawaii.
I would say that other thing is
Intentionally.
for sure, when I'm on a horseback in the Badlands of North Dakota, it looks like the horizon is just limitless. And
North
when
Dakota,
you can almost
South
see
Dakota.
beyond that
Okay.
horizon, you can see that this great country, our future is unlimited. But we've got to focus on innovation, not regulation. We've got to cut the red tape. We've got
Well,
to drive
so do
ourselves
I,
forward. The way we
Freedom.
win the
So
Cold War
suck
with
it up,
China is
Buttercup.
by growing our economy and through
Suck it up.
innovation. And as president, I
Suck
will
it
bring out the best
up.
of America. I will improve every American life.
Well,
Governor
we hope you're
Hutchinson.
back on your horse soon, Governor.
Back on your
Governor
horse.
Hutchinson.
Our nation is in trouble, and it's in trouble because of failed leadership. And the solution is not 4 more years of Joseph Biden. The solution is not 4 more years of Donald Trump. The solution is new leadership that can bring bold ideas to America and to bring out the best of America. A president's #1 responsibility is to bring out the best of our people. That's what Ronald Reagan did. And he did it with optimism and hope for our country, with a consistent conservatism. That's exactly what I bring. As president, I'll bring out the best of America in terms of individual
Are you just now
responsibility,
saying hi to
building our
Raph?
economy, in
I
terms
thought you
of
did
securing
earlier.
our border, enforcing the rule of law.
Asa?
I'll bring out the best of America in terms of our national character, our faith, and our hope for the future. Join in this fight. Exit2024.com.
Thank you. Senator Scott.
Ugh.
Thank
Go
you.
away.
I was a disillusioned
like
young
him, though.
man growing up in a single-parent household, mired
do
in
wanna listen to
poverty.
him.
I wondered if the American dream was real for a kid like me. I can stand before you today and say the dream is alive, it is well, and it is healthy. I had the good fortune of a mom who worked 16-hour days, making sure.
Okay, I am going to say this. I don't share a lot of personal things on the internet because I've always been very private. When he says he is raised by a single parent with an American dream, I believe him. I don't know how many siblings he has. For me, I have 6. We'll never name their names. That's up to them. But you have an American dream. You go to college. You're like, the only way I can be successful back in those days is if I have a piece of paper. So you work really hard and you decide that at a very young age. Oops, I apologize for that. This is a new thing. I just like, anyway. I knew at a very young age what I wanted to do for my future. I went to, I don't know what I can share or not share without doxing myself on this place that people are like weirdos or like mean and hateful. But when I was younger, my dad was a prominent coach, bodybuilder or whatnot for a college out of the state of Utah. And I remember going to one of his events and being like, that's exactly what I want to do as an adult. Needless to say, parents divorced. Yes, I'm ranting, and yes, I'm going on. But this guy's saying I was raised by a single mom and I had a dream. In America, you can be something with a dream. When I was young, I had a dream. And in America, I was able to fulfill my dream. Only here can we do that. Only here. I don't know. Now I feel like with ADD, I've lost track, but you can have dreams and you can work hard. In America, we can do this. This guy, I believe, Vivek, I'm still on the fence. This guy didn't take Soros money or WEF scholarships after I was a millionaire. This guy has not. I'm liking this guy as a second or third. Trump is still my #1. Okay, I'm stopping now.
We have food on our tables. She taught me that if you're able-bodied in America, you work. If you take out a loan, you pay it back. If you commit a violent crime, you go to jail.
So
and if
did
God
Demons
made you a
Rock.
man, you
For
play
you.
sports
It was
against men.
embarrassing. Very. I mean
Tim
that
Scott.
screw you
I'm
lovingly.
asking you for your vote, and if you're in Iowa, I'm asking you to caucus for me. You can go to votetimscott.com for more information or to make
He
a
wasn't in
contribution.
the state. It's okay.
Governor Christie.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you, Martha.
Yes.
Look, everybody on this stage
Victimhood.
wants to be the next president of the United States.
Victimhood. Poor
And
me.
the only way that's going to happen is if
Poor
we beat Joe Biden.
me. I want another
I'm the only one
cheeseburger
on
from
this stage who's
McDonald's,
ever beaten the
and I'm
Democratic
leaving in 20
incumbent in an
minutes.
election. I did it in a deep blue state, being outspent 3-1. Beating a Democratic incumbent is not easy. The last Democratic incumbent president who was defeated was Jimmy Carter. And he was defeated by a
Yes, I
conservative
am.
governor
Thank
from a
you.
blue state
Yes, I am.
who knew how to get results, who stood for the truth, who cared about accountability, and stood strong and hard against waste. Those are the very things that I did in my 8 years as governor of New Jersey, and it's exactly
Really?
what I'll do as president of
Oh,
the United
really?
States. Believe me,
Really?
the Democrats want some other nominee who's never beaten the Democratic incumbent. I'm the one who can win this race, and if you give me the chance, I will restore our country by winning it.
Thank you. Governor Haley.
Oh, you will? By doing what exactly?
Several weeks ago, I dropped my husband, Michael, a combat veteran from Afghanistan,
A husband.
off at 4 a.m. for another year-long deployment. I
Mhm.
watched him and 230 soldiers pick up their 2 duffel bags of belongings to go to a country they had never been, all in the name of protecting America. If they are willing to protect us from there, we should be willing to fight for America here. I will beat Joe Biden, and he knows that. I will strengthen our economy, and we'll bring this inflation down. We will put transparency in the classroom. We will secure our borders. We
Way
will
to
have the
abandon
backs of
me,
our law
Freedom. Love
enforcement,
you.
and we will make sure we have a
still
strong
love you,
national
though.
security. And once again, we will make sure we have an America that is strong and proud. We have a country to save. Join us. Go to NikkiHaley.com
Who there?
and let's get
Oh,
it done.
yeah. Agreed, Ozone.
Vice President Pence.
Oh, is this debate over? I'm
Brett.
officially bored of the debate, by the
This
way.
evening. It's an
Not
honor
of
to be
you
here.
guys, by the debate.
Joe Biden has weakened America at home and abroad. The disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, their war on energy, runaway spending that launched
like
the worst
Elder.
inflation in 40 years, a crisis at our southern border, an assault on our values and liberties. And the American
I
people
don't know
have
what you
enough.
mean, Gabby.
But I know we
Message
can
me
bring it back.
privately.
But different times call for
At
different
see
leadership.
my name
The Republican
across
Party
the
owes the
screen.
American people the choice.
at Talk with
Proven
Sally
leadership at the national level that knows how to
331
move a conservative
at
agenda forward. We've proven in the Trump
gmail.com.
Pence years you can turn this
It's
country
not
around
linked
faster than you
to
can imagine.
anything
And I have faith we will
whatsoever.
because I have faith in the
Not
American
other
people.
emails,
The good,
financial
decent,
bills,
hardworking,
nothing.
faith-filled, idealistic
Email me
people of this
there.
country, and I have faith
Please.
that God is not done with America yet.
Very close,
And if we will
Freedom.
renew our faith in one another and renew our
Like-
faith in Him who has ever guided this nation since
Hmm.
we arrived on these wilderness shores, I know the best
Like
days for the
2.5
greatest nation on
minutes, I
earth
think.
are yet to come.
Thank you. Mr. Ramaswamy.
I was born in 1985, and I grew up into a generation where we were taught to celebrate our
Okay, everyone. There's like 2 minutes left, 2.5. If you like my content, and I'm going to bring my honest opinion from a naive person. I am educated. I love to learn, and I will change my opinion. Hit the like button on both Rumble and YouTube. On Twitch, follow me. You can, underneath, I've had a banner going. You can donate via Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App. And yes, I did spell PayPal wrong because I couldn't figure out online. There was 2 different ways to spell it. Anyway, everything across all platforms is at Talk with Sally, including Twitter. And I will, if you follow me, I will follow you back. If you DM me, I will respond to you. I do my best to be attentive and responsive. Some days I fail at that. But please do that right now if you could. If you want to donate, great. And if while I'm live, you donate other than a Rumble rant or a YouTube, brain fart. Okay. Let me know. so I can properly thank you.
Diversity and our differences so much that we forgot all of the ways we
Thank
are really
you.
just
I
the
already
same
follow you on
as Americans,
Twitter.
bound by a common
Silly.
set of ideals that set this nation into motion in 1776. And this is our moment to revive those common ideals. God is real. There are two genders. Fossil fuels are a requirement for human prosperity. Reverse racism is racism. An open border is not a border.
You sent me a
Parents
smoked
determine
fish
the
recipe,
education
which
of
I'm
their
excited to
children.
try.
The nuclear
Totally.
family is the greatest form of governance known to man. Capitalism lifts us
No,
up from
you
poverty.
sent me a
There
recipe.
are
Thank
three
you. I
branches of
appreciate it.
government, not four.
Thank
And
you,
the US
Julian, for
Constitution,
sending
it is
those
the
for me.
strongest guarantor of freedom in human history. That is what won us the American Revolution. That is what will win us the revolution of 2024. Thanks for letting me introduce myself tonight. Thank you.
Governor DeSantis. Governor?
This is our
I need a
time
tie
for
right now.
choosing. We will send Joe Biden
I need a
back to his
tie.
basement and we will reverse
Shish
the
kebabs.
decline of this country. I'm a blue collar kid. I worked minimum wage jobs to be able to make ends meet. I understand the importance of the American dream, and I know how that slipped away from so many millions of Americans. We'll restore it. I'm a veteran who served in Iraq. I know what it means to put service above self. I'm also a dad and a husband to 6'5" and 3-year-old. I understand the importance of protecting parents' rights and the well-being of our children. In Florida, we showed it could be done. I made promises.
This is the last time I'm going to pause before this video is done. Parents' rights matter. If you've ever had a kid, we want to raise them. I'm assuming most people want to raise them to be good, kind, caring, productive human beings in society. As my responsibility as an adult is to give them food, shelter, education, and a warm bed. By law. Please. It matters. Parents matter. You matter. Your kids deserve to be loved and educated. And if you can't, don't be ashamed to ask for help. It's so important these days. And I'm so freaking glad that going into 2024, my kids, well, the end of 2023 fall, 2024 spring, my kids are done. And I'm glad. But ask for help. Educate them. Teach them. Okay, I'm not going to get sad.
And I delivered on all of those promises. 2024 is make or break. We're not getting a mulligan, no excuses. I will get the job done. And as your president, I will not let you down. God bless you all.
Is that the end? That's the end. I could have waited 30 seconds, guys. I'm sorry. I was going to watch movies tonight. It's 11 o'clock. I was planning on being done at 10:15, and I had 30 minutes of audio filming, StreamYard issues. So if I do a video, it'll be in the next 20 minutes. If not, I will do movies tomorrow night and Sunday night, along with my documentary night, which is only for Rumble. Only on Rumble at Talk with Sally at 8 p.m. And so Mondays and Sundays at 8 p.m. I do documentaries. And right now we're covering the rise and fall of that one guy that wrote a book in Germany, and the rise and fall of that particular group. If that makes sense, I hope it does. I hate having to censor my words. I just want to be blunt. I want you to be smart enough to say, yeah, I don't want to listen to her. And anyway, with that said, guys, if I do anything tonight, it'll be the next 10:57, 11 my time. So by 11:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So 22 minutes from now. I will see you guys all soon. These debates opened my eyes, and I hope they opened your eyes as well. We have to pay attention. Are they blowing smoke up our butt, or are they being honest? I don't know yet. It's too early and it's too soon. And I hope we can collaborate and discuss these things. And my mind is pliable. I am open-minded. I'm willing to change my position. I want the best for my kids. I don't have grandkids yet. And hopefully one day I do. And I want them to have a future. I could care less. I'm going to get old and die. I want them and their future kids to have a future. So it matters to me. And I'm very late to the game. And bless everyone. Remember, there's only two things in life you can control. It is your attitude and your effort. That's it. Decide to wake up tomorrow to have an amazing day. Even if it's shit. Just decide, I'm going to make the most of tomorrow. I will see you guys very soon. I think Nick Rekieta on Locals and YouTube is live. I'm pretty sure he is. Give him a follow. He's a great guy. And I will see you guys all super, super soon, if not tomorrow.